Slow down, guys. We're all coming. We're all coming. We're coming to you. We're coming to you. Other side of the tree.
All right, we're going to stand here.
Here, stand here.
We'll stand on the sidewalk with their
Yep. Back up. Back up.
Back up.
Thank you. We're coming on the sidewalk. Thank you.
Here we go. There we go.
Little space, guys.
Little space, please.
Would live volleyball
Can't see you.
So today, myself, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota's 5th District, along with Angie Craig, the Congresswoman for Minnesota's 2nd District, and Kelly Morrison, the Congresswoman for Minnesota's 3rd District, made an attempt to enter Whibley Center here in Minneapolis. We were initially invited in to do our congressional oversight and to exercise our Article 1 duties. When we made it in, it was with the authorization of someone who's been here for a really long time, who understood that we had a congressional duty to enter the building and to see the facility. Shortly after we were let in, 2 officials came in and said that they received a message that we were no longer allowed to be in the building and that they were rescinding our invitation to come in and declining any further access to the building. When we initially entered, I'll briefly describe what we saw. We were taken in to the monitoring center. We were able to see where people were brought in. We were informed that there are 2 planes that are taking off today, taking detainees out of this center into other detention centers outside, within the United States. We did ask if those were deportation flights. We were told no. When we entered the detention center, we were able to observe about 20 people that were being detained there briefly. We also were told that there were showers we weren't able to see. We asked if there were hygiene products provided. They told us people are not held long enough to need those, which is insane because we've heard from people who have been detained here before. And so I will let my colleagues also share their observation, but I will end with this. What happened today is a blatant attempt to obstruct members of Congress from doing their oversight duties. When we appropriate funds as members of Congress, we are expected by the public to do oversight because the public requires their money be used with transparency and accountability. And what happened today is ICE agents deciding that we were no longer allowed to fulfill our constitutional duties. I will turn it over to Congresswoman Angie Craig of Minnesota's 2nd Congressional District.
We were allowed to briefly enter the control room of the detention facility, but were not allowed many more steps thereafter. There was an abrupt decision that we should return to a waiting area and await leadership to come and tell us what was going on. When they arrived, they told us that we are not allowed in the building, that they were rejecting our appeal as duly elected members of Congress from the state of Minnesota from observing the detention center. I came with this court case because that is absolute nonsense. The response was that because the funding for this center came from the one big beautiful bill, not a congressional appropriations bill, that they were denying our access. This document, this court case, refutes that. They would not have a conversation, leadership in the facility, and answer any questions at that point. Look, we're here because we're members of Congress. We have every right and responsibility, if we're doing our jobs, to be here today to see what the conditions are in that detention center. We are going to continue to show up. We're going to continue to do our job. We let ICE know, Department of Homeland Security know, that they were violating federal law. They do not care that they are violating federal law. Kelly?
Yeah, Congresswoman Kelly Morrison, Minnesota's 3rd District. I just want